Welcome to the live stream, everybody. Ready to get going. Hopefully, with significantly less coughing this time around. Trying to shake this cough, but it just won't go away for some reason. Pretty much, I'm ready to go. Hitting record in 3, 2, 1.
You're listening to the Rex Sports Daily, your source for a fresh new take on all the latest headlines from the world of sports. And now, here's your host, George Bennett.
Welcome to the show, everybody. Today is April 21st, 2017. And today, there has been news breaking about there is a slim chance Neymar could be able to play in El Clasico. I know a lot of people are like, who's Neymar and what's El Clasico? For those of you who aren't up on non-American football, as I call it, soccer, Neymar is one of the best players in the world. He plays for FC Barcelona, my favorite team. And El Clasico is one of the biggest rivalry games in all of sports. It's the Michigan-Ohio State, the Yankees, Red Sox, UNC Duke of soccer, basically. It's Real Madrid versus FC Barcelona. Big time. Spain basically shuts down for this one. And it's pretty heated right now in La Liga. Only 3 points separate Real and Barcelona in the standings. Real having played one less game than Barca. But this one's big on Sunday. And Neymar had been banned for a few games. He had gotten a 3-ban match. But he originally failed an appeal of that ban, but apparently there's some other appeal process he could go through, and while that's going through, he could be able to play in Sunday's match against Real, but apparently there's a very slim chance of this actually going through. So, whatever. Atletico Madrid's also out there. They're about 7 points back of Barca and 10 back of Real. So this could have huge implications whether you're a Real fan, a Barca fan, or an Atletico fan. Whether or not Neymar could play is huge. Missing 1/3 of MSN, Messi, Suarez, and Neymar. That could prove to be the difference because the three of them are really what makes that team go. And being down one of them could prove costly for Barca. But anyway, on to other sort of niche sports. And I realize that's a bit insulting to say, but it is what it is. Hockey. Yeah, I'm getting all of this out of the way before we get into the NBA. Sorry guys. Sitting there waiting for that. The Penguins, they close out their series with the Blue Jackets, so I don't think there was any real chance the Blue Jackets could come down from 3-0. Valiant effort by them to win Game 4, but hey, at least you collect an extra game check. Those playoff game checks could come in handy, you know. Money gets tight. I mean, hockey players, you have to remember, not all of them are making the big bucks. The guys whose names we know, like Crosby, Fleury, Malkin, like guys on the Penguins like that, we know them. But I honestly couldn't name a single player on the Blue Jackets roster. But so you gotta believe, especially for those guys who are on like the fourth line or whatever, that extra game check comes in pretty clutch for them. But I've already gone over how the NHL's system kind of stinks if you're a Blue Jackets fan having to play what very well may be one of the best teams in the East in the Penguins in the first round. But hey, you have to play who they schedule you to play. So the Canadiens, they dropped one at home to the Rangers. So the Rangers, they end up taking this one 3-2 in overtime. And that series, New York now leads that series 3-2, taking it back home to MSG. If the Rangers end up knocking off the Canadiens, that'll come as a bit of a surprise. The Canadiens were the ones who benefited from the system the most, and if they still couldn't get it done in the first round, sort of shame on them. I know New York, I think, was either the 7th or 8th best team in the East. I believe it was the 7th, yeah, the 7th. They had no business not taking care of business against the Rangers, who just squeaked into the playoffs. But hey, speaking of having no business losing to somebody, the Chicago Blackhawks just got swept in the first round by the Nashville Predators, despite the Predators having the worst record in the playoffs. This was just absolutely astonishing. And Nashville, having only 94 points in the regular season, by far the lowest total of anyone to make the playoffs, knocking off Chicago in 4 straight games. Chicago, I thought, was going at least to the Cup Finals. They're a team that year after year has been getting it done and provided some quality play and championship level play. But they basically didn't show up in this series at all. They scored 1 goal in this one. I know they got shut out in a couple of the games. Just a bad playoffs all around by the Chicago Blackhawks. You know, that entire fan base has to be pretty PO'd, and just how Nashville just owned them in this one. And this is the thing that sort of distinguishes hockey from basketball, even though their playoffs sort of coincide with each other, so the comparisons get made. These things happen in hockey. They don't typically happen in basketball. I know we're seeing Chicago has the 2-0 lead heading back home over Boston, and we'll get into that more later, but that's more of an anomaly. This I certainly did not expect the sweep by the Predators, but this kind of thing is certainly possible. Corey Crawford but at the same time, the Hawks weren't getting it done on the offensive end either. They scored 3 goals in 4 games. You get shut out in the first 2. It's like they were outscored. What is this? Quick math in my head. 13-3 in this series. Pathetic showing by the Hawks. This is the kind of stuff that just always shocks me in the NHL for some reason, but it's not too uncommon. But the Oilers, they take a 3-2 lead over the Sharks, and this is a team I'm certainly interested in watching if they can make it later on into the playoffs, because obviously Connor McDavid, he has a point in this one, but he's just like he's a guy I want to see play more, and see play on like the largest stage. Like I don't typically watch hockey unless it's the Wings or it's playoff time and there's a big matchup or something. But like Connor McDavid is the kind of guy who just you have to appreciate what he's able to do out there on the ice, and he's somebody I'm certainly looking forward to see his career go on. I remember a lot was made about Sidney Crosby coming out way back when, and he certainly has lived up to the hype, barring injuries. When he's actually out there and not concussed, he actually does something. But Connor McDavid, according to all accounts, is supposed to be even better. Gretzky dubbed him the best prospect since Gretzky. So, and he certainly got it done this past season. Just bringing up the numbers real quick. Just some absolutely astonishing numbers by him this past year. 30 goals and 100 points for a guy with just 1 year of experience. It's absolutely insane. So far to this point, having played not even 2 full seasons, he has 148 career points, so, and 46 career goals. He could be that dude, like sort of the LeBron James to Gretzky's Michael Jordan. But that's what's going on in the NHL. Moving on to what most of you came here for, NBA. The Raptors, they just get absolutely manhandled in Milwaukee. I don't think I could have called this series even more wrong. Like, I was not expecting this young Bucks team to step up and get it done the way that they are. And I think the most surprising player of this, and the guy who's catching me off guard a bit, is Greg Monroe. Greg Monroe has been averaging a pretty substantial amount of points off the bench. He still is, in fact, coming off the bench in favor of Thon Maker. I don't know if they just want that spark or whatever, but it's clear Greg Monroe is having a better series than the rookie. And Dellavedova, again, having a better series than Malcolm Brogdon. It just, the rookies aren't out there getting it done so much in this one, but it hasn't seemed to matter, even though you got Monroe and Dellavedova coming off the bench. They're playing more minutes, and they're having a much greater impact on things. But this is a team that's a lot deeper than I realized going into things. You also had Michael Beasley coming up big off the bench. Spencer Hawes, he's more or less a body, but he is a pretty big body and is substantial. And if you're able to have depth in the front court this time of year, that certainly is something. When your big men start picking up fouls from guys driving into the lane too much, having a guy like Spencer Hawes coming off the bench doesn't hurt at all. You got a veteran like Jason Terry. He didn't do much in his 18 minutes, but you got to believe he will moving forward in this series. However, I don't know what's wrong with the Rockets. I guess it's a lack of chemistry. This team hasn't had time to really gel at all. And you haven't had Kyle Lowry and Serge Ibaka play together too much. And it's one of those things. This is difficult to watch right now. I don't know what you need to do if you are the Raptors to sort of come back from this. Shout out to my boy Norman Powell, though. 12 points in only 15 minutes. It was probably in garbage time, but hey, I don't 8 points out of DeMar DeRozan goes 0 for 8 from the field in 31 minutes. When you're the superstar of this team, you're debatably the best player. That's such a pathetic performance in the playoffs, nonetheless. Your first road game in the playoffs, and you just drop a goose egg in the field goal column. And I'm pretty sure DeMar DeRozan averaged nearly, if I had to guess, I'd say 25 a game. I'm bringing it up now. 27. 27 a game this past season. A career 19 point a game score, and you put up 8? And then Kyle Lowry wasn't able to chip in much either. He only has 13. DeMar Carroll, I'm not even sure why he's even playing. He certainly doesn't fit in the lineup at all at this point. But I'm not sure who you'd start ahead of him. Maybe PJ Tucker. I'm not sure. But something definitely. There needs to be a sharp U-turn by the guys from the Six. This is absolutely pathetic what they're doing right now. And I said it before. I did not call this at all. I was extremely wrong on this one. I did not expect this. But, however, I should have saw it coming. This is a Bucks team that's played together all season long, whereas the Raptors, you're trying to get Kyle Lowry back in the mix. You're trying to build that chemistry with Serge Ibaka. This is a team that's just, you brought in PJ Tucker late. It's just a team that's been in way too much flux, and sometimes you just see those mid-season acquisitions. Like, not every mid-season acquisition can be Rasheed Wallace, where it just fits in perfectly and you're good to go. But Raptors, they're not looking like they're ready this year. I thought the Bucks would be too young, not have enough playoff experience, but they're clearly proving me wrong right now. Moving on to the Spurs and Grizzlies. Grizzlies take one. I thought if they were going to take one, this would be it. They win 105-94, so they get Zach Randolph into the starting lineup. Probably a good decision. Got to get the veteran out there. JaMychal Green, he wasn't really getting it done for you in the first couple games. Zach Randolph at least provides you another big body out there and some veteran experience. Gonna be interesting to see what they can do going forward if they keep Randolph in the starting lineup. Vince Carter, don't know how you can realistically expect much from him. He only has 4 in this game, but I don't see Memphis winning another game in this series. It's not often you're going to see Kawhi go for 18 and Tony Parker go scoreless. I think this was a perfect storm for the Grizzlies, and they played out of their minds. The Spurs played terribly. You got to believe Greg Popovich isn't going to allow that to happen again. And at the end, the Spurs still almost mounted a comeback in this one. Outscoring the Grizzlies by 7 in the fourth. So, if you're the Grizzlies, tip of the cap for you for taking one in this one. I don't see them winning another game in this series. But moving on to the big game from last night. The Cavs and the Pacers. Cavs made a huge comeback in this one and ended up winning it. They outscored the Pacers by 12 in the fourth quarter to win 119-114. LeBron was LeBron, 41 points, 13 rebounds, 12 assists. Nice little Russell Westbrook there. I feel like that's what we should just call triple doubles now. Like, he had a Russell Westbrook. I feel like that's pretty apropos at this point. Not the greatest night by Kyrie, but when you have LeBron going off like that, you don't really need it. The Cavs just have too much talent for the Pacers to keep up with. And, like, you look at the line from Paul George, 36, 13 rebounds. 15 rebounds, 9 assists. And it's just not enough. He doesn't have the help around him. It's very much, he is the Pacers' Russell Westbrook. He comes 1 assist shy of a Russell Westbrook in this one. What more is there to say? I don't think the Pacers are deep enough either. Other than Lance Stevenson, you got nobody off the bench who can really do much. I'm tempted to say you should probably have C.J. Miles coming off the bench instead of Stevenson. Stevenson seems to be providing the greatest spark, but down 3-0 at this point, I'm not sure how much it really matters. I think Cleveland probably closes this out in Game 4. Despite Herculean efforts from Paul George, I don't see much changing. But that brings us to tonight's games. Probably the 3 most interesting series are all playing tonight. You got Boston, Chicago, Houston, OKC, and LA and Utah. Boston. News came out today that Rajon Rondo has an injured, what is it, wrist or something like that? I don't know. He hurt something. He fractured something or other. I think in his hand or something. He won't be reevaluated for another 7 to 10 days. He's out indefinitely. I think this changes the dynamic of that series entirely. Because I think Rajon Rondo, and I never would have thought I'd be saying this, he was the catalyst of that Bulls team. He was the one, more so than anybody, was leading that Bulls team along with Wade and all that. But Rondo more so than anybody, like I said. He was the one just finding guys all over the place, chipping in his little 10, 15 point scoring. He's basically this generation's Jason Kidd. Like, he can go out there and get you a Jason Kidd triple-double pretty easily. Or, sorry, a Jason Kidd Russell Westbrook. But with Rondo out, this changes the dynamics. You got what's his name, Jerian Grant starting at point guard. So fractured thumb, that's what it is. You lose a lot of playoff experience. Rondo brings that in spades. He's had a lot of deep runs, none of late. We forget Rondo had a lot of great years with the Celtics. In fact, he was the main portion of that team as guys like Pierce and Allen and Garnett got older towards the latter half of it. He sort of stepped up and became that guy. However, without him, I think the Celtics are poised to make a huge comeback, and they could end up being one of the first teams to win a series, having dropped the first 2 games at home. One thing, so Isaiah Thomas, he's had time to go be with his family in his time of mourning and things like that. Well, it's going to be interesting to see how much he's able to bounce back now, having had a pretty subpar series so far by his standards, especially on the defensive end. Obviously, Isaiah Thomas is one of the worst defenders in the league, but even more so when you're letting Rajon Rondo just handle you like that. I don't think Jerry and Grant will be able to take advantage of that as much. But we'll see. I think this is what the Celtics needed. Unfortunately, it had to come at Rajon Rondo's expense with the injury. But this is a golden opportunity for the Celtics, and I think they got to take advantage. OKC Houston tonight. This is probably going to be what my TV is focusing on the most. Being that the Clippers and the Jazz tip off a half hour after the fact, probably mostly going to be paying attention to Rockets, Thunder. Just because that Houston team is so fun to watch. It's almost like an all-star game when you see them play because there's no defense being played. The over/under on this game is 224, which I'll take the over on that one all day. Russell Westbrook, what more can you say about him? It's just, I feel bad. But this is what he signed up for. For everyone who was yelling at LeBron for going to Miami, it's yeah, this is what LeBron re-signing with Cleveland would have been. It would have been quick playoff exits, him being frustrated and putting up stats like we've never seen before, and no even sniffing the second round. That's mostly what LeBron in Cleveland would have been. So everybody wants to see a guy be loyal and stick around with his team. Well, you got it. I hope you guys are happy because I hate seeing this. It's he's such a wasted talent at this point. People want to. It's we can't have it both ways. It's we want the super team. We don't want the super teams, but we don't want guys just stranded. I just remember all those years of Allen Iverson on the Sixers, when they made the finals at one time, but it just wasn't enough because they ran into the juggernaut that was the Lakers. And who was the second best player on that team? Dikembe Mutombo, past his prime. I don't know. I don't know what people want. I just can't stand looking at Russell and Victor Oladipo. Like I said the other day, he's not the second piece of a championship team. He's probably a good fourth piece of a championship team, not a good second. So OKC, they're at least two star players away from actually competing. It's going to be interesting to see. I know a lot of people have fantasized about maybe Blake Griffin going and joining that team, him being from Oklahoma and playing for Oklahoma in college. He is a free agent coming up. We'll see. I think the Clippers can obviously give him the most money, but moving on to the Clippers anyway. Here's the thing. If Rudy Gobert doesn't play in this game, I don't think it'll be very close. You just have nothing inside to even compete with Blake Griffin and DeAndre Jordan, which can that really DeAndre Jordan averages 14 rebounds a game. And Blake Griffin is a 22-point-a-game scorer. You need something to try to bang with them inside and Derek Favors, I'm sorry, he ain't that guy. If you get him back, then maybe I still can't find anything on the Gobert injury. Like, the news, like, come on, Utah beat writers, get out there and do something. I can't find anything. Yeah, it says he won't play, but I don't, like, when is he coming back? Like, is there any timetable at all? I feel like this is one of those, like, a very significant injury that's being grossly underreported. Like, I'm skimming through this entire article. I don't see anything on a timetable about Rudy Gobert's return. But, hey, Derek Favors, you were a high draft pick for a reason. I gotta believe you can do something to sort of, like, try to slow down Lob City. But realistically, I think this becomes a completely different series without Rudy Gobert. I think the Clippers could potentially close this out in LA in 5. So you lose probably one of the, like, inarguably a top 3 defender in this league. You're not gonna be as good. The NFL schedule release was yesterday. I'm not even gonna dignify that with any more discussion on it because I'm sorry, releasing the schedule is not an event. It's not. I mean, the draft is arguably not an event. I love the draft, but, like, at least that's something. But, like, the schedule release, come on, get out of here with that nonsense, NFL. Not every little thing you do needs to be, like, documented and have a whole thing about it. Like, yeah, whatever. Just getting to some of these smaller stories that came out. Oh God. I'm looking through it and more NFL schedule stuff's coming up. Whatever. Somebody's suggesting it's time to legalize PEDs after Starling Marte got popped. Yeah, no. Let's see. Apparently, Carmelo to the Knicks. Carmelo to the Celtics. That was going to be a thing, but Danny Ainge said nah. That isn't looking too smart right now. You probably could have kept up in those 2 games with Carmelo, but trading all those picks in division, I could see why you wouldn't want to do that. Apparently, Aaron Rodgers had a late night Twitter exchange with Shooter McGavin. Okay. Giannis Cespedes out 2-3 games after tweaking his hamstring. Sucks to be a Mets fan. As if it needed another reason to suck to be a Mets fan. Oh, Deshaun Kaiser. This idiot. Saying his comments about having the intellect of Tom Brady and the body of Cam Newton. He says they were taken out of context. It's like, okay, whatever. And I think that's about going to wrap it up. I'm not seeing anything else worth talking about. Apparently, the Seahawks are sort of backing off the trade market for Richard Sherman. Apparently, they're not liking things. I wish they would stop telling me about all these things involving schedules because I don't care. Like, well, the games will happen when they happen. Lions are undecided about Eric Ebron's option. Eagles could still trade Jordan Matthews. And Malcolm Butler might end up staying put in New England. So, a few quick NFL stories there. Probably going to get a lot more into the draft next week. Draft's less than a week away now. We got about 6 days until the first round kicks off. So, going to be interesting to see if the Browns pull the trigger on Myles Garrett or if they go Mitchell Trubisky or what have you, if they trade down. A lot of intrigue. We haven't heard about them actually getting into contract negotiations with anyone, which a lot of times you'll hear this time of year, like, oh, they're in contract negotiations, because if you have the first pick, you're out. You can go ahead and do things like that. But hey, that's been another episode of Direct Sports Daily. I want to thank everybody for watching and listening. We'll be back on Monday. Should have Rob on the show so we can get some back and forth banter going. Looking forward to it. Thanks, everybody. And I'll see you Monday with more Direct Sports Daily.
This has been another episode of Direct Sports Daily. Thanks for listening. And to keep up with the show, follow us on Twitter at the DSD Podcast. Subscribe to us on iTunes, Google Play, or Stitcher Radio. Or visit our website, www.directsportsdaily.com.